The stars looked different today. Captain Dongmin pressed his face against the cold glass of the Luna monitoring station and squinted at the darkness beyond Earth's moon. Something was out there. Something that should not be there. The computers started beeping. Red lights flashed across the control room. Dongmin ran to his chair and looked at the screens. 3 large objects were moving toward Earth. They were big. Much bigger than any human spaceship. "This cannot be real," Dongmin whispered. His hands shook as he reached for the emergency communication button. He had trained for this moment his whole life, but now that it was here, he felt like a child. The objects were getting closer. The computer showed they were made of materials that humans had never seen before. They glowed with a soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. They moved without making any sound that human sensors could detect. Dong-Min opened a direct line to Earth. "Admiral Sujin, this is Luna Base. We have a situation." On Earth, Admiral Sujin was drinking coffee in her office when the call came. She was a small woman with gray hair and tired eyes. She had spent 40 years in the Earth Defense Corps, but she had never expected to deal with anything like this. "What kind of situation?" she asked. 3 alien ships are approaching Earth. They will be here in 6 hours. Sujin dropped her coffee cup. It broke on the floor, but she did not notice. "Are you certain?" "Yes, Admiral. The computers have checked. The data 10 times. These are not human ships. They are not from anywhere in our solar system." Sujin closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Then she opened them and became the military commander she had always been. "Send all data to Terra Command immediately. I want every defense station on high alert. And get me Secretary General J. Ho on the line right now." The alien ships moved closer to Earth. They were beautiful in a strange way. Their hulls seemed to be alive, changing colors from blue to green to purple. They had no sharp edges like human ships. Instead, they flowed like water frozen in space. Inside the lead ship, Commander Thelvar looked at Earth through his ship's sensors. He was tall and thin, with skin that changed color like his ship. His people, the Vorthak, had been traveling between the stars for thousands of years. They had met many different kinds of life. "Another primitive world," Thelvar said to his crew. "Look at them. They still burn chemicals to fly into space. They fight wars with metal bullets. How amusing." His second-in-command, a female named Velara, studied the data. "They do have some interesting qualities. Their art shows creativity. Their music has patterns we have not seen before. And they seem to adapt quickly to new situations." Thelvar nodded. "Yes, they might make interesting pets. But first we should introduce ourselves properly." On Earth, Secretary General J. Ho stood in the emergency meeting room. Leaders from every nation sat around a large table. Everyone looked scared, but they tried to hide it. "The aliens are sending us a message," said Dr. Haiwan, Earth's best language expert. She was young but very smart. She could speak 20 human languages and was now trying to understand an alien one. "What do they say?" asked J-Ho.Hi-1. Listen to the strange sounds coming from space. The aliens were trying to speak human languages, but they did not get everything right. "They say they come in peace. They want to meet us. They say they are explorers who travel from world to world to learn about different kinds of life." The room was quiet for a long moment. Finally, J-Ho spoke. "Do we believe them?" Admiral Sujin looked at the data on her tablet. "Their ships show no obvious weapons. They are not moving in attack formation. They stopped when they reached our outer solar system and asked permission to come closer." "But they could be lying," said General Kim Woo, the head of Earth's ground forces. "They could be," Sujin agreed. "But if they wanted to attack us, why would they announce themselves? Why would they ask permission?" Dr. Haiwan raised her hand. "There is something else. The way they speak about us, they sound curious, not hostile. Like scientists studying something new." The alien message continued. The Vorthak explained that they had been watching Earth for several weeks. They were amazed by human creativity and culture. They wanted to exchange knowledge and perhaps establish trade between their peoples. J-Ho made the decision that would change human history. Send a reply. Tell them they are welcome to visit Earth, but they must approach slowly and follow our instructions. 3 days later, the alien ships took positions around Earth's moon. They were even more beautiful up close. Human telescopes could see creatures moving inside the transparent sections of the alien hulls. The Vorthak looked like tall, graceful humans, but their skin changed colors and they moved like they were swimming through water instead of walking. The first meeting took place on a space station in Earth orbit. Thelvar and 2 other Vorthak met with Jeho, Admiral Sujin, and Dr. Hewan. The aliens wore devices that translated their words into human languages. "Your world is very interesting," Thelvar said. His voice was musical, like wind chimes, in a soft breeze. "We have visited many worlds, but yours has a special quality. Your people create beautiful things even though your technology is so simple." Jeho tried not to feel insulted. "We may not be as advanced as you, but we have achieved much in our short history." Thelvar smiled, and his skin shifted to a warm, gold color. "Oh, we do not mean to be rude. You have done very well for such a young species. In time, perhaps you will grow to understand the universe as we do." Dr. Hewan noticed something in the way Thelvar spoke. He was being kind, but there was something else underneath. The way an adult might speak to a clever child who had learned a new trick. The meeting continued for several hours. The Vorthak offered small gifts of technology, better ways to store energy, improved communication systems, new materials that were stronger than anything humans had made. To them, these were simple things. To humans, they represented years of advancement. "Why are you being so generous?" asked Admiral Sujin. "Because we believe in helping younger species grow," said Thelvar. "It is our duty to guide those who are not yet ready to guide themselves." After the aliens left, Dr. Hewan stayed behind with Jeho and Sujin. "What do you think?" asked Jeho. "They seem peaceful," Hewan said slowly. "But there is something about the way they look at us, like we are not quite real to them. Like we are animals in a zoo that have learned to do tricks." Admiral Sujin nodded. "I noticed it too. They are being kind, but they do not see us as equals." In the weeks that followed, more Vorthak ships arrived. They established a small station near Earth's moon and began regular contact with human governments. Cultural exchanges began. Human artists created new works inspired by alien beauty. Human scientists studied the gifts of alien technology. But in the deep darkness beyond Pluto, something else watched and waited. Something that the Vorthak had not seen. Something that would change everything. 3 months had passed since the Vorthak arrived. The world had changed in ways both big and small. In Seoul, artist Minho stood in his studio, looking at his latest painting. The canvas showed swirling patterns of blue and gold that seemed to move when you looked at them. He had learned this technique from studying Vorthak art. "It is beautiful," said his assistant, a young woman named Jiwoo. "But it feels strange, like it was made by someone else." Minho nodded. "The aliens see beauty differently than we do. Their art is not about showing things as they are. It is about showing how things feel." Around the world, similar changes were happening. Human musicians were learning new scales that made their ears tingle. Human writers were trying to understand stories that had no beginning or end, only endless circles of meaning. The Vorthak seemed pleased with human efforts to learn their ways. They gave small rewards when humans did well. Better paints for artists, new instruments for musicians, improved computers for scientists. In Geneva, Dr. Kyung-soo worked late into the night in his office. As Earth's chief diplomatic liaison, with the Vorthak he spent his days in meetings with alien representatives. The work was fascinating, but something bothered him. The Vorthak were always patient and kind, but they never seemed surprised by anything humans did. When human scientists made breakthroughs using alien technology, the Vorthak smiled and nodded like teachers watching students solve simple math problems. "They knew we would figure this out," Kyung-soo said to his assistant. "They give us technology. That is exactly at the edge of what we can understand. Nothing more, nothing less." His assistant, a bright young man named Tai Jin, looked up from his notes. "Maybe they are being careful. Maybe they do not want to give us too much too fast. Maybe, Kyung-soo said, but he did not sound convinced. In the orbital research station, engineer So Young worked alongside a Vorthak technician named Mordun. They were trying to improve human battery technology using alien principles. So Young was excited about the work but frustrated by her alien partner. Why can you not show me how the energy flows through this crystal? So, Young asked. More, done. His skin shifted to a pale green color that So Young had learned meant mild embarrassment. Your equipment cannot measure those energy patterns yet. Perhaps when your technology improves, we can explore deeper principles. But if you just explain the theory, I could build better equipment. The theory requires understanding of mathematics that your species has not discovered yet. We do not wish to confuse you with concepts that are too advanced. So Young felt her face grow hot with anger, but she tried to stay calm. How do you know what is too advanced for us if you do not try to teach us? Mordun's skin shifted to a soothing blue. Please do not be upset. We have met many species like yours. We know the proper pace for learning. Trust us to guide you correctly. That evening, So Young called her friend Boram, who worked for the Earth Defense Corps. They met at a small cafe in Seoul that served both human and alien-inspired foods. They treat us like children, So Young said, stirring her coffee angrily. Smart children, but still children. Boram nodded. She was a lieutenant in the Defense Corps and had been analyzing Vorthak ship movements for months. I know what you mean, and there is something else that bothers me. What? Their ships are always moving. They say they are exploring our solar system, but they keep going to the same places over and over. Our defense stations, our major cities, our resource mining operations. So Young stopped stirring her coffee. That sounds like mapping. That is what I think too. But when I reported it to Admiral Soo-jin, she told me not to worry about it. She said we should not seem suspicious during these delicate negotiations. In the Vorthak station near Earth's moon, Commander Thelvar reviewed reports from his exploration teams. The data was very detailed. Every human military installation had been mapped. Every population center had been analyzed. Every resource deposit had been cataloged. The humans have more raw materials than we initially thought, reported Velara. Their planet has large amounts of rare metals. Their oceans contain chemicals we need for our bioships. And their population could provide useful labor once they are properly managed. Thelvar nodded. What about their military capabilities? Primitive, but numerous. They have many nuclear weapons, but their delivery systems are slow and easy to intercept. Their conventional forces are scattered and poorly coordinated. They would pose no significant threat to our fleet. And their space defenses? Almost non-existent. A few orbital stations with basic weapons, some satellite networks that could be disabled easily, nothing that would delay our operations more than a few hours. Thelvar studied the data carefully. The Vorthak Confederacy had been expanding across the galaxy for millennia. They did not conquer worlds through violence if they could avoid it. Instead, they offered friendship and guidance to primitive species. Most were grateful to be uplifted by such an advanced civilization. But sometimes, primitive species did not understand what was best for them. Sometimes they had to be convinced more firmly. How much longer should we maintain the cultural exchange? Asked Velara. Another few months. Let them grow comfortable with our presence. Let them come to depend on our technology. When the time comes to make our offer, they will be more likely to accept it. Meanwhile, in a secure facility deep beneath the mountains of Colorado, Admiral B. Soo-jin stood in a room filled with screens and flashing lights. The room was so secret that most of Earth's leaders did not know it existed. Status report, she said to the technician at the main console. All systems are green, Admiral. The Retribution is holding position at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. All defense platforms are operational and hidden. The asteroid belt installations are ready for activation. Soo-jin nodded. Any sign that the aliens have detected our preparations? None, Admiral. They seem completely focused on the inner solar system. Their scans have not penetrated beyond Jupiter's orbit. Good. How long until we can implement the full plan? We need another month to complete the final installations. After that, we will be ready for any scenario. Su-Jin looked at the largest screen, which showed a tactical map of the entire solar system. To anyone else, it would have looked like a normal diagram showing planets and asteroid belts. But Su-Jin could see the hidden truth. Humanity had not been idle during the past century. They had been preparing for this day. Continue with the preparations, she said, and make sure the Vorthak do not suspect anything. Let them think we are just a peaceful, primitive species grateful for their guidance. Back on the Vorthak station, Thelvar received a message from the Confederacy High Command. Fleet Admiral Nethkar was coming to inspect the human situation personally. The message was clear. It was time to move to the next phase of the plan. Thel, Var, looked out at Earth, hanging like a blue and white jewel in space. The humans were interesting creatures, but they were still just another primitive species that needed guidance. Soon they would understand their place in the galactic order. He did not notice the dark shape moving slowly through the outer solar system, hidden among the ice and rock of the Kuiper Belt. The humans had learned many things during their violent history. One of the most important lessons was this: when someone comes to your home claiming to be your friend, it is wise to keep a weapon hidden behind your back. 6 months after first contact, the world celebrated what they called Harmony Day. In New York, thousands of people gathered in Central Park to watch human and Vorthak performers share the stage together. Children held balloons shaped like alien ships. Vendors sold food inspired by both cultures. Secretary-General J. Ho stood on a platform beside Commander Thelvar. The alien's skin glowed with warm golden colors, and his musical voice carried across the crowd through speakers. Today we celebrate the friendship between our peoples, Thelvar said. The Vorthak Confederacy is pleased to welcome Earth into our family of civilizations. The crowd cheered. J-Ho smiled and waved, feeling proud that humanity had achieved peaceful contact with an advanced alien race. Around the world, similar celebrations were happening in every major city. But then Thelvar continued speaking, and his words changed everything. Of course, as the younger species in this relationship, humans will need guidance as they take their place in galactic society. The Confederacy has decided that Earth will become a protected world under our direct supervision. J-Ho's smile froze on his face. What do you mean by supervision? Thelvar's skin shifted to a cooler blue color. We mean that Earth will be governed by Confederacy administrators who understand the complexities of galactic civilization. Humans will be relocated to designated areas where they can live safely while learning to adapt to their new role. The crowd in Central Park grew quiet. People looked at each other with confused expressions. This did not sound like the partnership they had been promised. Relocated? J-Ho asked, his voice barely a whisper. Yes. Most of Earth's surface will be needed for Confederacy operations, but do not worry. We will provide comfortable reservations, where humans can maintain their culture and traditions. Many of your people will also have the opportunity to work alongside Confederacy citizens in various labor capacities. Dr. Kyung-soo, who was standing nearby, stepped forward. His face was pale with shock. You are talking about colonization. You are talking about making us slaves. Thelvar's skin flashed with irritated red patterns. Please do not use such harsh words. We prefer to think of it as guided evolution. Your species is not ready for full independence. Under our care, you will grow and develop safely. Around the world, similar announcements were being made at other celebration sites. In London, Paris, Tokyo, and Sydney, Vorthak representatives calmly explained that the time for voluntary cooperation had ended. Now it was time for mandatory integration. In Geneva, Admiral Su-Jin watched the broadcast from the Emergency Command Center. Her face was stone cold with controlled fury. Beside her, Dr. Kyung-soo's voice came through the communication system. Admiral, they have troops moving into position around every major city. Ships are decloaking all over Earth orbit. We counted at least 50 vessels that were hidden before. Su-Jin looked at the tactical displays. The Vorthak had been busy during their months of cultural exchange. Their ships now surrounded Earth like a net. Weapon systems that had been hidden were now fully visible and aimed at population centers. "How long do we have?" Sujin asked. "They say 72 hours for complete surrender. After that, they will begin what they call enforcement actions." On the screens, Fleet Admiral Nethkar appeared. He was larger than the other Vorthak, with skin that shifted between deep purple and black. His voice was cold and mechanical through the translation devices. "People of Earth, resistance would be illogical and costly. Your military technology is centuries behind ours. Your ships cannot match our speed or firepower. Your weapons cannot penetrate our defenses. Surrender now, and the transition will be peaceful. Resist, and many will die needlessly." In cities around the world, panic began to spread. People ran through the streets, trying to get home to their families. Governments held emergency meetings, but there seemed to be no options. The alien fleet was too powerful, too numerous. But in the secret command center, Admiral Sujin remained calm. She looked at her communications officer, a young woman named Yunji. "Send the activation code to all stations," Sujin said quietly. "Which code, Admiral?" "Phoenix Rising." Yunji's fingers trembled as she entered the code. She had trained for this moment but never believed it would come. "Code transmitted, Admiral. All stations are acknowledging." Far out in the Kuiper Belt, Captain Wu Jin received the signal aboard the massive ship that had been hiding in the ice and darkness for months. The TDF retribution was over 1 kilometer long and bristled with weapons that the Vorthak could not even imagine. "All hands, this is the captain," Wu Jin announced over the ship's communication system. "Operation Phoenix is now active. This is not a drill. All crew to battle stations." The Retribution's engines came to life for the first time in months. The huge ship began accelerating toward the inner solar system, still hidden by advanced stealth technology. On Mars, mining equipment that had been working for years suddenly stopped digging and began transforming. Drilling rigs became weapon platforms. Cargo haulers revealed hidden missile batteries. What the Vorthak had observed as industrial activity was actually military preparation. In the asteroid belt, thousands of objects that had appeared to be simple mining drones activated their true programming. Weapon systems powered up. Targeting computers came online. A massive hidden fleet revealed itself among the rocks and ice. On Luna Base, Captain Dongmin pressed a series of buttons that he had hoped never to use. The moon's surface split open in dozens of places, revealing railgun batteries that had been built over decades and carefully hidden from alien sensors. The Vorthak noticed the changes immediately. On the lead ship, Thelvar studied the sensor, readings with growing alarm. "How is this possible?" he asked Velara. "Our scans showed no significant military installations. The readings are changing faster than I can track them," Velara replied, her skin flashing confused yellow patterns. "These energy signatures, I do not recognize the technology." Fleet Admiral Nethkar's voice crackled over the communication system. "All ships, maintain positions. These must be hidden weapons of some kind, but they cannot match our firepower." But even as he spoke, more impossible readings appeared on the sensors. The primitive humans were revealing technology that surpassed anything in the Confederacy. Databases. On Earth in the secret command center, Admiral Sujin opened a direct communication channel to the Vorthak fleet. "Fleet Admiral Nethkar, this is Admiral Sujin of the Terran Defense Force. You made one critical error in your planning." Nethkar's image appeared on the main screen. His skin was now pure black with anger. "What error is that, primitive?" Sujin smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "You assumed we were actually primitive. You assumed that what you saw was all there was to see. You assumed that a species capable of covering an entire planet with cities and machines would be incapable of hiding things from you. Impossible. Our sensors are the most advanced in the galaxy. Your sensors are designed to detect technology similar to your own. But human technology developed along a different path. We learned to hide things because we have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We learned to be paranoid because our history taught us that the friendly stranger often becomes the conquering enemy." On the tactical displays, more human installations revealed themselves. The true scope of Earth's defenses became clear. The entire solar system was a weapon, carefully disguised and patiently prepared over decades. "You still cannot match our numbers," Nethkar said, but his voice carried less certainty than before. "Perhaps not," Sujin agreed. "But you made another error. You assumed that because we seemed peaceful, we were weak. You confused kindness with helplessness. You forgot that the most dangerous predators often appear harmless until the moment they strike. In the Kuiper Belt, the Retribution finished its acceleration and began its approach to Earth. Its weapons systems powered up, and for the first time in the ship's existence, it prepared to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of when threatened. The Retribution emerged from the darkness like a nightmare made real. Captain Wu Jin stood on the bridge of the massive warship, watching Earth grow larger on his screens. His ship was a monster of metal and energy, built in secret over 50 years by the combined efforts of every nation on Earth. "Distance to target?" he asked his navigation officer. 2 million kilometers in closing, Captain. We will be in weapons range in 30 minutes. Wu Jin nodded. Behind him, his crew worked at their stations with calm efficiency. These were the best soldiers humanity had ever produced, trained for a war they had hoped would never come. Tactical Officer Yunji looked up from her console. "Captain, I am detecting massive energy readings from the Vorthak fleet. They are powering up weapon systems across all ships." "Let them," Wu Jin said calmly. "Signal all hidden installations. Execute Phoenix Protocol Alpha." Across the solar system, humanity's true power revealed itself. On Mars, the mining colony that the Vorthak had dismissed as a simple industrial operation shed its disguise. Huge sections of the planet's surface opened like flower petals, revealing weapon platforms that had been built deep underground. Commander Sungmin stood in the Mars Defense Command Center, watching the transformation through reinforced windows. Around him, dozens of technicians worked frantically to bring weapon systems online that had been sleeping for decades. "Primary batteries are charged and ready," reported his weapons officer. "Target the nearest Vorthak cruiser," Sungmin ordered. "Let them know what human engineering can accomplish when we put our minds to it." The first shot from Mars base traveled at nearly the speed of light. It was not a simple energy beam or projectile. Human scientists had learned to weaponize the fundamental forces of physics itself. The beam tore through space and struck the Vorthak ship's shields. The alien vessel shuddered under the impact. On the bridge, the Vorthak crew stared at their instruments in disbelief. "Impossible," whispered the ship's commander. "That energy reading, it exceeds our maximum theoretical calculations." The shield generators overloaded and failed. The second shot from Mars struck the ship's hull directly, cutting through the biometal like it was paper. The Vorthak cruiser broke apart in a brilliant explosion of light. Fleet Admiral Nethkar watched the destruction from his flagship and felt something he had never experienced before: fear. "How can primitives generate that kind of power?" he demanded. His science officer, a nervous Vorthak named Kethran, studied the sensor data with shaking hands. "Admiral, this technology, it does not match any known scientific principles in our databases. The humans have found ways to manipulate matter and energy that we never considered. In the asteroid belt, thousands of objects that had pretended to be mining drones for months suddenly came alive. Lieutenant Tae Hyun commanded a squadron of these hidden weapons platforms from his control ship near Ceres. All units, this is Control. Initiate attack pattern Delta. Show these aliens what happens when you threaten Earth." The disguised drones moved with perfect coordination, like a school of mechanical fish. They had been built using lessons learned from every war in human history. Each one was small and fast, designed to work together in ways that confused and overwhelmed enemies. The Vorthak ships tried to target the attacking drones, but there were too many, moving too fast, in patterns that made no sense to alien tactical computers. The drones swarmed around the larger alien vessels, striking with precision weapons that found weak points in the biometal hulls. "Our ships are being destroyed faster than we can respond," reported Velara from the command ship. "These humans fight like nothing we have encountered before." She was right. The Vorthak had conquered many worlds, but they had always faced species that fought like they did. with large ships in organized formations, using predictable tactics. Humans fought like the predators they had evolved from, using pack hunting, techniques refined over millions of years. On Luna Base, Captain Dongmin watched the railgun batteries unleash their fury. The weapons had been built into the moon's structure itself, drawing power from fusion reactors hidden deep beneath the surface. "Targeting the alien command ship," reported his gunner, a young man named Jinwoo. "Fire when ready," Dongmin said. The railgun sent a projectile toward the Vorthak flagship at a significant fraction of light speed. The slug was made of materials that humans had invented specifically for penetrating alien defenses. When it struck the command ship's hull, it punched through like the armor was not even there. The retribution finally reached weapons range of the main alien fleet. Captain Wu Jin studied the tactical display, watching his smaller forces tear apart ships that were supposedly far more advanced. "It seems our alien friends are not as prepared for real warfare as they thought," he said to his bridge crew. Chief Engineer Taehyun looked up from his console. "Captain, primary weapons are charged and ready. Shall I give them a demonstration of human ingenuity?" "Fire," Wu Jin said simply. The Retribution's main weapon was humanity's crowning achievement. In the art of destruction, it did not simply fire energy or projectiles. Instead, it reached out and manipulated the fundamental structure of reality itself, creating tiers in space-time that could not be defended against or avoided. The beam struck 3 Vorthak ships simultaneously. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the ships simply ceased to exist, erased from reality as if they had never been built. On the Vorthak command ship, panic had replaced confidence. Nethkar stared at his tactical displays, watching his fleet disappear ship by ship. "How many vessels have we lost?" he asked. 43 ships destroyed, 17 more severely damaged, Kethran reported. "Admiral, we must retreat. These humans, they are not what we thought they were." "Retreat?" Nethakar's skin flashed angry red. "We are the Vorthak Confederacy. We do not retreat from primitives." "With respect, Admiral, these are not primitives. Their technology is beyond anything in our databases. Their tactics are more sophisticated than our own, and they fight with a level of aggression that we have never encountered." Nethkar looked at the tactical display again. In 30 minutes of battle, he had lost more ships than the Confederacy had lost in the previous century of expansion. The humans were not just defending themselves, they were winning. On Earth, Admiral Su Jin watched the battle unfold from the command center. Her expression was grim but satisfied. "Send a message to the surviving Vorthak ships," she ordered. "What message, Admiral?" asked her communications officer. "Tell them that Earth offers them one chance to leave our solar system alive. They have 10 minutes to begin their retreat, or we will demonstrate what our heavy weapons can accomplish." The message was transmitted across all frequencies. On the Vorthak command ship, Nethkar received the ultimatum with growing horror. "Heavy weapons," he whispered. "These were not their heavy weapons." Kethran studied the sensor readings from the battle. "Admiral, based on energy signatures, I believe the humans have been holding back. The ships we have seen appear to be only a fraction of their true military capability." Nethkar realized that his entire understanding of the situation had been wrong. The humans had not been primitive at all. They had been pretending to be primitive while preparing for war. They had allowed the Vorthak to study them, to map their defenses, to plan their conquest, all while laying a trap that had just snapped shut. "Signal the fleet," he said quietly. "All ships are to retreat immediately. Maximum speed back to Confederacy space." The surviving Vorthak vessels turned and began fleeing the solar system. As they ran, more human weapons revealed themselves. Hidden platforms in the outer planets, disguised installations on asteroids, even weapons built into space debris that had seemed harmless. The message was clear. Humanity had turned their entire solar system into a fortress, and they had been ready for this day for much longer than anyone had imagined. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, only 12 Vorthak ships remained out of the 67 that had tried to conquer Earth. They limped through space toward the edge of the solar system, their biometal hulls scarred and broken. Fleet. Admiral Nethkar sat in his command chair, staring at the tactical display that showed the wreckage of his fleet. Around him, his bridge crew worked quietly, trying to repair damaged systems and tend to wounded crew members. "Status report," he said weakly. Science Officer Ketharin looked up from his console. His skin had turned a sickly gray color. 55 ships destroyed. 12,000 crew members dead. Our remaining vessels are badly damaged and will need months of repair before they can attempt another long-range journey. And the humans? They lost nothing, Admiral. Not a single major installation was destroyed. A few of their smaller attack craft were damaged, but their main fleet appears to be completely intact. Nethkar closed his eyes. In 3 hours, the humans had wiped out the largest military force the Confederacy had ever assembled, and they had done it while barely using their full strength. On the Retribution, Captain Wu Jin walked through the ship's corridors, checking on his crew. Despite the overwhelming victory, his expression was serious. War was never something to celebrate, even when it was necessary. He found Chief Engineer Tae-hyun in the main reactor room, running diagnostics on the ship's weapons systems. "How are we holding up?" Wu Jin asked. "All systems are functioning perfectly, Captain. We used less than 20% of our full power during the battle. The ship could fight for days at this level without strain." Wu Jin nodded. The Retribution had been built to fight a war against an entire galactic civilization. If necessary, today's battle had been just a small test of its capabilities. What about the other installations? Mars Base reports all weapon systems operational. The asteroid belt platforms are ready for another engagement. Luna Base has enough ammunition for 50 battles this size. We are ready for whatever comes next, Captain. On Earth, the celebrations had begun. In cities around the world, people poured into the streets, cheering and crying with relief. The alien threat was over. Humanity had won. But, in the secure command center, Admiral Su-jin felt no desire to celebrate. She understood what this victory really meant. "Send a message to the retreating Vorthak ships," she ordered. Communications Officer Yoon Seo looked up from her station. "What message, Admiral?" "Tell them we want to speak with their commander. One final conversation before they leave our space." A few minutes later, Fleet Admiral Nethkar's image appeared on the main screen. He looked older than he had that morning, his skin dull and lifeless. "What do you want, human?" he asked. Su-jin studied the alien's face for a moment before responding. "I want to make sure you understand what happened here today. You defeated us. Your hidden weapons were more powerful than we expected. Are you satisfied with your victory?" "This was not about victory," Su-jin said calmly. "This was about survival. You came to our world offering friendship and we welcomed you. We shared our culture, our art, our knowledge. We hope to learn from you and build something good together." Nethkar's skin flickered with confused yellow patterns. "Then why did you have all those weapons? Why did you prepare for war?" "Because we are not fools," Su-jin replied. "Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We have learned that when someone comes to your home claiming to be your friend, you should hope for the best but prepare for the worst." She gestured to the tactical display that showed the wreckage of the Vorthak fleet. "You studied us for months. You cataloged our resources, mapped our cities, analyzed our defenses. Did you really think we would not notice? Did you believe we would not prepare? Your technology," Nethkar began, then stopped. "Our technology is the result of necessity. Every weapon you saw today was developed because at some point in our history, we needed it to survive. We have fought wars with sticks and stones, with swords and guns, with bombs and missiles. Each time we learned something new about how to protect ourselves." Su-jin leaned forward in her chair. "You made the mistake of thinking that a peaceful appearance meant peaceful capability. You confused our kindness for weakness. You saw our simple tools and assumed we were simple people. But your ships, your weapons, they surpass our most advanced technology. That is because you became comfortable. You conquered weaker species for so long that you forgot what real opposition looks like. You developed technology for exploration and colonization, not for survival against equals. Admiral Sujin stood up and walked closer to the screen. We developed our technology in a universe that was trying to kill us every single day. Every predator on our world, every natural disaster, every disease, every war. They all taught us lessons about how to survive. Your people learned to live in peace among the stars. Our people learned to fight for every breath. She paused, letting her words sink in. There is a human saying, "Si vis pacem, para bellum." If you want peace, prepare for war. We wanted peace with you, Admiral Nethkar, but we prepared for war. The Vorthak commander's skin had turned almost transparent with shock. What happens now? Now you leave our solar system and never return. You go back to your confederacy and tell them what you learned here. Tell them that Earth is not available for conquest. Tell them that humans are not a primitive species that needs guidance. And if the Confederacy sends a larger fleet? Sujin smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. Then we will destroy that fleet too, and the next one, and the one after that. We will keep destroying your fleets until you understand that some worlds are not meant to be conquered. She walked back to her command chair. But I hope it does not come to that. Despite what happened today, we still prefer peace to war. If your people can learn to treat us as equals instead of children, perhaps we can build the friendship we both originally wanted. Dr. Haiwan, who had been listening to the conversation, stepped forward. Admiral, there is something else. What is it, Doctor? I have been studying the Vorthak language and culture for months. I believe I understand their psychology. They respect strength above all else. By defeating them so decisively, we may have actually earned their respect for the first time. Sujin looked at Nethkar's image on the screen. Is that true, Admiral? The alien was quiet for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice carried a new tone. Not the condescending patience he had shown before, but something that might have been genuine respect. Your species is remarkable, he admitted. In 3 hours, you taught us more about warfare than we learned in 1,000 years of conquest. Perhaps we were wrong about your level of development. We were never underdeveloped, Sujin replied. We were just developed differently. The question now is whether your people can accept that difference. As the surviving Vorthak ships limped out of the solar system, they carried with them a message that would spread throughout the galaxy. Earth was defended by a species that looked peaceful, but fought like devils. Humanity had announced its presence to the universe, and the announcement had been written in fire and metal. In the months that followed, other alien species would approach Earth. Some came as potential conquerors, drawn by reports of a rich world defended by primitives. They learned the same lesson the Vorthak had learned, often more harshly. But others came as genuine friends, offering real partnership between equals. These visitors were welcomed warmly, and many profitable relationships developed. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never judge a species by its appearance and never assume that kindness means weakness. Humanity had been peaceful by choice, not capability. And once that choice was taken away, the universe discovered what humans were truly capable of when they fought for their survival.